Hey guys, T-Glizzy here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Gyrfalcons Hauberk. This exotic chess piece has a secret perk on it that nobody is talking about, so today we're going to take a look at that secret perk, and also we're going to be putting together a build that is centered around that secret perk. So if you do go on to enjoy this Destiny 2 video, please be sure to let me know by smashing that thumbs up button, but without further ado, let's dive straight into it. So before we take a look at the secret perk, let's take a closer look at Gyrfalcons. With hotfix 6.3.0.1, Gyrfalcons actually got a rework to its exotic perk, See Me Feel Me. So let's go ahead and read the new description added on this exotic chess piece. So it reads, your void weapons gain volatile rounds after you emerge from being invisible. When you are invisible and defeat a combatant with your finisher, all your weapons gain bonus damage, and you and your nearby allies gain reserve overshields and improve class ability regeneration. These reserve overshields can be deployed by using your class ability. So before the rework, to gain all of the benefits, all you needed to do was go invisible, and then once you emerge from being invisible, you would get that 35% damage increase. Now you have to get a finisher while being invisible, but it's all good because we're going to be going ahead and creating a build for this exotic, and it's going to allow us to stay invisible for practically forever so that we can take advantage of that damage boost found on this exotic chess piece. So now taking a look at the secret perk on Gyrfalcons. So for the secret perk, it actually synergizes with Rat King. So you can use Rat King and synergize with Gyrfalcons, so you can become invisible on any subclass. Doesn't matter if you're using solar or if you're using stasis. All you need to do is land a final blow with Rat King, become invisible, and then you can take advantage of all of the exotic benefits on Gyrfalcons. So if you get a finisher while you are invisible, you'll get that 35% damage increase when you emerge. Also, you'll get volatile rounds when you emerge as well on any of your void weapons. And again, it doesn't matter if you're on any of the different subclasses, you can still benefit from volatile rounds on any subclass as long as you're using Rat King with Gyrfalcons. So one final thing before we take a look at the build, Valis X complements the synergy between Gyrfalcons and Rat King really well. So if you do have this ritual pulse rifle, I advise you go ahead and check it out if you are going to be using the synergy between Gyrfalcons and Rat King. With Valis X, you'll be getting repulsor brace and also golden tricorn. Repulsor brace will be proccing a ton since we'll have volatile rounds. With volatile rounds, we'll be automatically proccing repulsor brace, giving us overshields. And then with golden tricorn, all we need to do is defeat combatants, and once we defeat them, we'll get a nice boost to our damage. So it all just synergizes really well to keep us having overshields at all times and also being able to stay invisible. So now moving on to the build. So for our subclass, we're going to be using Gunslinger and we're going to be using Solar 3.0. So we're going to be playing around with Solar since it doesn't matter which subclass we use to take advantage of Gyrfalcons. We'll be playing around with Solar for this build. So for our abilities, we're going to be using Gambler's Dodge. Dodging your enemies fully recharges your melee ability. And then for our Solar melee, we're going to be using Knife Trick. And then for our grenades, we're going to be using Incendiary Grenades. For our aspects, we're going to be using Gunpowder Gamble, and this aspect reads, defeat targets with abilities, solar debuffs, or solar weapons to charge them up and improve solar explosive. So this is going to give us a really big bomb, and it's going to be really nice for the rest of the build. And then also we're going to be using for our second aspect, On Your Mark, and this aspect reads, precision final blows grant you and nearby allies increased weapon handling and reload speed for a short duration and stacks up to 3 times, which is going to be super handy since we are using Valis X, which does have a slower reload. And also with Rat King, we'll be able to reload faster, making us go invisible faster. So for our first fragment here, we have Ember of Benevolence, and this fragment reads, applying restoration, cure, or radiant to allies grants increased grenade, melee, and class ability regeneration for a short duration. And then for our second fragment, we're going to be using Ember of Torches, and this one reads, power melee attacks against combatants make you and nearby allies radiant. And then for our final fragment, we have Ember of Singeing, and this fragment reads, your class abilities recharge faster when you scorch targets. So now taking a look at the mods. So for this build, we are going to be using tons of Warmind Cell mods. I know Warmind Cells aren't in the best spot right now in the current sandbox, but this build right here definitely excels in all types of activities. So we went ahead and started using some Warmind Cell mods to make this build just a little bit more interesting. So for our first mod here, we have Wrath of Rasputin, and this mod reads, solar splash damage final blows have a chance to create Warmind Cells. So now taking a look at our next mod, we have Power of Rasputin, and this mod reads, you gain a bonus to weapon damage against enemies that are near Warmind cells. So moving on to our next mod, we have Rage of the Warmind, and this mod reads, adds additional solar damage to explosions of Warmind cells you destroy. So for our final mod, we're going to be using Cellular Suppression, and this mod reads, damaging a Warmind cell creates a burst of suppressing void energy. Additional, you deal less damage to Warmind cells. So this mod's going to be super handy for those pesky teammates that are trying to destroy your Warmind cells. It'll actually give you more time to go ahead and destroy them so that you can take advantage of your mod Rage of the Warmind. war mine, and also it'll be suppressing enemies as well. As the enemies are getting suppressed, if you do land the final blow with your Valley's X with Repulsor's Brace, you will be proccing your overshield, so you'll be getting overshields from the enemies that are suppressed from your war mine cells. So that does it for the build, and for this build it gets even better during gameplay. Being able to stack a bunch of buffs and also debuffs so that we can deal tons of damage with our Rat King or with our secondary weapon as well is super handy, and we can just completely melt through adds. Having volatile rounds on our weapons as well is extremely handy with just slaying through adds. Being able to have unlimited volatile rounds thanks to Gyrfalcons is definitely an amazing buff to this exotic chest piece, and I found it super handy to use inside of endgame content. So I've been doing Master Nightfalls, also Master Lost Sectors, and this build has definitely been excelling, and I definitely haven't been disappointed in this build. I was surprised to see how potent this build actually was in in-game activities. I thought it would only be good for doing basic activities such as strikes or gambit, but no, it actually excels in in-game activities. Being able to give your allies overshield and also that 35% damage buff to your weapons is also extremely amazing for just slaying through adds. Again, I was super impressed by this build. So during gameplay, the best way to use this build to maximize this build is to become radiant first. Once you are radiant, then you want to get a kill with your Rat King so that you can become invisible. While you are invisible, use your finisher so that you can get that 35% damage increase. That 35% damage increase does stack with radiant as well, so you'll be getting a serious damage increase to your weapons, and also all of these damage buffs do stack with golden tricorn as well to maximize your damage to just slay through adds. And with all of these buffs up, you can also have repulsor brace, so as you're slaying through adds, you'll be getting overshield and all of these damage debuffs, basically becoming an unstoppable machine in any activity you're playing. And I can't wait for Grandmasters to come out to actually check out this build and to fully experience how this build plays inside of high-end activities. So overall, I'm extremely impressed with the rework to the Gyrfalcons exotic. This exotic has become one of the best PvE exotics in the game. Although it's not as strong inside of PvP, it was just absolutely broken inside of PvP. Now it's actually a PvE god and not a PvP god, so this is again one of the best exotics that you can get your hands on inside of PvE, allowing you to give your teammates overshields and also yourself overshield, giving yourself unlimited volatile rounds, and then on top of that, being able to give yourself a damage boost is just absolutely insane, making this one of the best exotics in the game. I definitely expect Bungie to go ahead and nerf this exotic in the future because of having unlimited volatile rounds is just completely busted. I think they will be doing some type of nerf to this exotic, but for right now, enjoy this exotic, enjoy the build, and have fun. This is definitely one of the best builds in the game, allowing you to have all of these buffs up at once. It's definitely super fun to play around with in any activity that you are playing in. And if you are too lazy to go ahead and put on all of the mods and all of the fragments, then go ahead and just follow the dim link down in the description, and it'll automatically apply all of these mods to your character and also fragments so that you can go ahead and start playing with this build right away. But yeah guys, that's gonna do it for me in this Destiny 2 video. If you did enjoy, please be sure to let me know by smashing that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe for more. And I've been your boy T Glizzy. You guys have been my awesome viewers, and I'll see you guys in another. Peace.